Trying to stay motivated during a job search can be very difficult for quite a few job seekers. I know that the first time I got laid off, it was devastating, and trying to get back on the horse and try to find another job was difficult. So today's episode is all about how do you stay motivated in a job search. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael with Michael's Business English. This is the first time on your channel. Here we talk about career development, business English communication skills. What we do is we support non-native English speakers improve their communication skills for their career development. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you like and subscribe, and all the links mentioned in this video will be in the description box below. So the reason I decided to shoot this video outside, you can see I'm in a park. Right? I don't normally shoot outside when I wear my suit and my pockets square, and I got a nice backdrop, nice fancy backdrop that I like. This is a kind of a personal video, right? So this is not the type of video where it makes sense to kind of be all formal and professional and nice and clean and like be the coach. This is more of a video where it's like you gotta be more relaxed. And I think one of the key elements that I'm going to talk about today is about the concept of a sprint versus a marathon, and making time to find peace during a job search. So the reason people lose motivation during a job search, there's quite a few reasons, right? It's that you're not getting results because it's hard. What I mean by that is, for most job seekers, their process is to go online and apply for jobs every single day, multiple times a day, and they don't hear anything. They don't get feedback, they don't get emails, they don't get called in for interviews, nothing. So it feels like a waste of time. So a lot of job seekers get burned out pretty quickly during the job search. In fact, I'm actually in Taiwan right now, and I was testing the idea of getting a job here. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not, but I was actually applying for jobs quickly, like online, which I don't recommend doing that, but that's what I did. And the teaching job is okay because even though it's a huge market, even though there's a lot of competition, there's still a lot of demand. So, for example, I applied for 20 jobs last week, 2 weeks ago. I got 5 interviews for it. Right, that's pretty big. That's what's that, like 20-25% success rate on interviews. If you tried doing that in the States, like that wouldn't happen, right? Like it was very unlikely that you would be able to get interviews with only 20 applications if you applied online. But here it's a lot more, how do I say this? It's a lot less competitive because there's so much demand. But even now, like I'm still kind of stressing out. I'm still kind of like, what if I don't get the job? What if I don't get the job? And because the thing is, if I don't get a job, I can't stay in Taiwan. That's kind of the motivation here. Because otherwise I have to go travel, go to another country. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I don't know if I really want to be traveling every 3 months to a new country. It's time consuming, it's a lot of work. I have to go get a visa, especially now with the coronavirus going around in China. Okay, so let me get back to the main point. So how do you stay motivated during a job search? Sometimes I see people say things, sometimes the coaches say things like sprint versus marathon. And the job search is like a sprint in the sense that you've got to hustle to get the job, right? You got to be moving really fast. You never know what's going to happen. Because all you got to do is get that one job. All you got to do is get one job off and you're done, right? And that's it. So some people have recommended that all you do is just go full speed until you get the job. And what I found is that most job searches take time, especially at higher levels. Especially, even more importantly, probably even more difficult. It's probably even more difficult at lower levels if you just graduated from college. After, I thought that's the hardest part, is getting the first job if you don't have experience. So I actually think the job search is not a sprint, but it's actually a marathon. Meaning that instead of grinding every single day and hustling and going out and trying to find a job as soon as you can, you need to relax. You need to chill. Like, I'm in Taiwan. Look at this. Look at this. Like, people relaxing. I probably shouldn't have done that because I didn't get the permission, but, you know, I'm sure it's fine. But, you know, what I'm trying to make here, what I'm trying to point out here is that you need to treat the job search like a marathon, not a sprint. That's how you stay motivated. When you understand that you're probably not going to get the job as fast as you would like to get the job, that allows you to just focus on being present. Focusing on things focus on moving the needle every day. Because you know, like every time you apply for a job, whether it's applying online, or it's doing an informational interview, or it's sending out an email through a code email, or you were doing a code pitch or whatever, however, even through your network, like it's always going to be a numbers game. Like there's nothing we can do about that. There's literally no way that I can guarantee you a job offer today, right? It's impossible. So knowing that, what you need to do is plan in your rest days. Because you know, like there are going to be days you're going to go in, you're going to work out hard, but understand like you're not going to get the results today. Like if you ever have tried to lose weight or build muscle, you know this. It takes time. It's a long time. Like when I started losing weight, like it took me, like you lose 5 pounds, I lost 5 pounds a month, and it was awful. I felt like I wasn't losing weight. I felt like it was taking too long. So one day, what happens is, it's done. Same thing's true with the job search. If you're actively looking for work, you need to keep one thing in mind, which is that it's a marathon. You're not going to necessarily get the job immediately. It could take months. It could take even longer depending on what you're trying to do. So it's important to properly plan for rest days. It's important to make sure that you have that in there, that you know that because every day you apply, you're going to work hard. The other thing I want to bring up to you that I think would help you in order to stay motivated in your job search is to find models. Right? Find people who struggled with find people that you like, who you look up to, and look at their careers. It doesn't have to be someone who's in your industry. So, for example, I like Usher. He's an R&B musician from, I don't know, God knows. I haven't listened to him in a long time. But when I was a kid, like I looked up to Usher a lot. I like, oh my God, he's so cool. I remember one day, like watching a documentary and finding out things like Usher, before he became like this big R&B singer, he was told over and over and over and over he would never be successful. He was told as a kid he would never be good. He'd never amount to anything. He'd never be a good singer. He should stop the career altogether. He should stop singing altogether. He kept getting told no. And now Usher, if you look him up now, he's making millions and millions of dollars. He's a super success. Right? In an ultra competitive industry, in the entertainment industry, it's very competitive. So what I found is like something that might help you stay motivated is to find people who are successful and look at their origin stories, look at their autobiographies and see what their life was like. Because you're going to find they were just like you. They struggled. Most people don't have the one-hit wonder thing where it's like everything just gets handed to them. Most people don't have a silver spoon where everything's handed to them. They don't. So it's important to get aligned with reality. And remember that this is normal, right? It's normal for a job search to take time. The final thing I suggest, and you're not going to like this one, I know most people don't like it. It's very, very few people actually enjoy this. And that's, you've got to be brutally honest and critical and non-judgmental with your efforts. So what I mean by that, and I'll give you an example of another situation that I'm in for someone else. So I'm in a Facebook group for men. It's basically life coaching, but it's like dating as well. One guy came in the group and he complained to our mentor. He said, I have been trying to get better at dating for 3 months, right? He said, I've been here for 3 months. I have not had one single date. Not one date. Then he goes on to explain that 2 things that came out. First of all, even though he's been in this membership for months, he stopped watching the courses. So he watched like the first hour, and then he said, well, I know most of this stuff already, so I don't need to watch it anyway. Which, that's a big mistake, because just because you know some of it doesn't mean you know everything that's going to be released. Right? That's a mistake a lot of people make. It's an amateur mistake. Like, I already know this, because you don't know what they're going to say. You have no way of really knowing. They might give you like headlines that say this is what happened next, but you don't actually know the content. And even further, like, the content can be explained differently. Sometimes you have to hear the same thing different ways for it to trigger. That's why I recommend books so much, because sometimes the answers will kind of trigger something in you. The second thing that happened to him, this is the thing I really liked, was not only did he stop the course, not only did he didn't finish the course, but also he wasn't doing enough effort. He had approached, in 90 days, he had approached 11 girls. Let me ask you this, like, I don't know if you're a man or a woman or what your dating profile is, but if you approached 11 people, what are the odds that one of them is going to be interested in dating you? What are the odds that the person you approach is single and is interested in someone like you and is open to dating and is open to dating someone like you, and you know, and so on and so on, all these other qualities? Like, you know, there are tons of reasons why. Like, I don't know how many times I approached a girl and she was married. Like, I swear to God. Like, it's just like, especially when I was back in the US, like, every day I approached at least one girl who was married. I don't know if it's just like a thing, but it just happened to me a lot. So, the thing is that if you look at the standards for dating, most dating coaches will tell you that the bare minimum that you should be approaching is 3 times a day. And this guy approached less than 3 times a day. He approached maybe once a week, right? In 11 approaches in 90 days, right? That's not a lot. He's not doing the bare minimum to get results, to see improvement. So a lot of job seekers, what I've been finding, this may or may not be you, but you should be checking yourself, like, what kind of effort are you actually putting in? Now, if you jump in and saying, like, I don't have time, Michael, you don't understand, I have a family, I have kids, like, I understand, like, I have obligations, everyone has the same 24 hours. Like, it's up to you how you want to maximize it, how you want to spend it. And if the truth is that you don't have time, well then, you know, you shouldn't be surprised, right? So, for example, when I did One Funnel Away, like, the goal was to build a funnel in 30 days, but I didn't have time. I had a full-time job, I had clients, I had other things I had to do, so it took me 90 days to build a 30-day funnel. That might be the case for you. So if you are fully aware, like, you don't have the capacity to put in the effort every day, you don't have the capacity to go and send out informational interview requests every day, you don't have the capacity to send out cold emails every day, you don't have the capacity to do the research every day, that's fine. Like, at least do something, but be aware of the fact that your results are probably not going to be as good as someone else's, right? It's going to take you longer, because the odds are still the same, like, no matter what. Like, you can only do so much to increase the odds of you getting a job, right? So an application online, for example, has got a very low percentage rate. An informational interview and creating a referral inside that company is a little bit higher. But even then, it's still percentages. It's not guarantees. It's not 100%. It's like more like 1%, 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%. It's all about making things stack in your favor. So, to recap, there are 3 things that you need to do to stay motivated in your job search. First is you got to remember this is a marathon, so you got to make sure you treat this like a marathon and you give yourself time to relax and you do not burn out. Make sure you enjoy plenty of coffee. Go hang out at the park. The second thing you need to do is to find models to make sure that you're seeing, like, what other people are doing and what their life is like, to find inspiration and to be reminded of your expectations. Because sometimes people have the wrong expectations. Sometimes they're like, I should have a job by now. And it's like, no. Like, very few people get a job quickly. Very few people get a job in a month. Very rarely. I don't see it very often. It's hard. It's time consuming. It's random. It's all random. And thirdly, and finally, you got to make sure you are optimizing and testing your results. So, like, if you know, like, the standard for, you should be applying for at least 5 to 10 jobs a day. You should be doing information interviews every day. You should be asking for them. You should be cold emailing. Are you doing that? And if not, what's stopping you? Like, how do you spend your time? Don't forget, I have other book recommendations for this. So, you know, go back to Miracle Morning, go back to 2-Hour Job Search, go back to Indistractable for how can you optimize your time. These are all resources that help you with time management and help you, like, build processes so that you have the time and the energy. So I'm trying to make sure I don't get the sunlight in your face. making sure you have time and energy so that you can actually put in the effort in for your job search. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments what questions you have. Don't forget to send me DMs or shoot me an email. We can talk soon. Let's see. Anything else I want to tell you? There's one more thing I want to tell you before I sign off here. It's like the fastest job offer I ever got was the one I wasn't looking for, which is why I harp on this as much as I can. The importance of like doing things like building a network and optimizing your profile, and optimizing your resume and your CV. Okay? Because with my LinkedIn profile, all I did was learn SQL, and then I got job offers right away. I don't have to look for work ever again. If I need to get a job in the US today, I can go to my inbox. I get requests all the time. Okay? I don't have to worry about looking for work. I just don't. At least not as a data analyst. If I wanted to get a job that's a little bit more competitive, like it might be harder for me to do that. So, just be aware of your industry. The other thing is that I've seen this consistently, especially at higher levels. Most people don't look for work. They usually get approached, they get tapped on the shoulder for job offers. So one of my big bosses in my last company, one of the Fortune 500 companies, she was a senior vice president. And one day she came up and she had a meeting. She said, hey, my former boss from another team approached me and said, hey, I need you to come build my team over here. And just like that, like no interview, no like formal thing. It's just like, hey, just come over here. It's a promotion. Like the best thing you can do for yourself if you really want to get out of this job search kind of like nightmare is to build your processes so that you never have to worry about it again. All right, I think that's enough for now. That's quite a long video, and I hope this was helpful for you. Again, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Let me know if you want some ideas, want to talk, some questions you want me to answer. If you have things you want me to look at, just let me know. See you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.